The Olympics, the ultimate sporting extravaganza on the planet. Where else can you see 200 plus nations compete for Citius, Altius, Fortius? It is going to happen from July 25 to August 11th. 16 days of superhuman feats, 16 days of absolute joy for nations that win the gold, silver or the bronze. But unfortunately, the Olympics is being played in the backdrop of war. The world is in such a way now that the Olympics, the Paris Olympics of 2024 is going to be played in the shadow of two wars. 2024, if you look at it, has seen tremendous escalation on two fronts. The Russian-Ukraine crisis as well as the escalation in Gaza between Israel and Hamas. That has also spilled over into the broader Middle East. Now, people who are familiar with the politics of the region very well understand that it is not going to go away. That is why you're seeing that Israeli athletes are getting security round the clock in Paris. Many people have said, don't worry, welcome to Paris under the backdrop of that intense security measures. Russia's athletes, on the other hand, already plagued by a doping scandal. They cannot participate even further because they have violated Article 50 of the IOC Charter because of the war in Ukraine. This is the prime reason why many people who say politics and sports do not go well together, hell, they forgot about the Olympics. Because this is the ultimate theatre where war and sports intermingles. Not just that, social issues also intermingle. You've seen in 2024 the current situation that Afghanistan faced, the women of Afghanistan faced when the regressive Taliban government has come. On the other hand, you're also seeing the situation that is happening in Palestine. It is turning into a human catastrophe with each passing day. Now with Israel there and with also Palestine there, how will it be played? How the backdrop of the war in Gaza will play out in Paris when Russia and Ukraine athletes, along with Belarusian athletes, 15 or you may say a very less number of athletes who are technically neutral, are going to face off. How will that be played out? You think this is something new? Well, think again, because Olympics has always been played under the shadow of war. Look at 1940s. Look at how it happened between 1940, 44 and 48 when the Second World War happened. When the Second World War happened, the sides that were on the Axis powers, like Germany, Japan, were not allowed to participate in London. You thought that was hostile. Take your mind back to 1956 when there were two wars happening. One was Britain, France and Israel invading Egypt over the nationalization of the Suez Canal. That escalated to such a big extent that 8 nations decided to boycott the 1956 Games in protest of this. And not just the Suez Canal crisis. Immediately in another continent, the shadow of the Cold War just spilled over because the USSR invaded Hungary as they wanted to withdraw from the Warsaw Pact. It was the heights of the Cold War and it was brutally crushed. 12 years later, you saw the USSR once again indulge in an act of aggression, this time again amidst the Olympics. 1968, the Prague Spring Uprising saw the USSR army invade the Czechoslovakian Republic. At that point in time, there was tensions even in Mexico City. You thought the 12-year curse was real? Well, think again. 1980, when the Moscow Olympics happened, 1 year prior to that, the USSR had invaded Afghanistan. Now, because of that, the Western nations decided to totally boycott the games. Not just war, social issues also play a role. 1976, you saw apartheid take on a big social role. African nations were in solidarity and that is why they decided, no way, we are not going to participate in Montreal, not because of South Africa, but because of New Zealand. The All Blacks rugby team had decided to tour Springboks South Africa in 1976 despite a UN embargo. Now, should I once again repeat the statement? Politics and sport do not mix? Well, whoever coined that was very naive because even in the modern era, you saw 2008, Free Tibet, Beijing Olympics. What was that? Free Tibet, apartheid, you look at whatever is happening in Afghanistan, you look at whatever is happening in Gaza in the modern era. It's all happening under the backdrop of this huge sporting event called the Olympics. That is why Olympics has always been played in the shadow of war. You are very lucky that it didn't happen in 2004, 2000, and also if you look at it 2012 and 2016. But we all know the broader context of it. Security has been beefed up in Paris. One hopes there is not a repeat of 1972 Munich. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. Subscribe to India Today Global for all the latest news and analysis.